Now on Channel 4, Usher's syndrome explained in today's edition of Sign On.
Hello, in today's Sign On Your Views programme, we'll be looking at something with a long history in the deaf community. Usher syndrome. Most of us are familiar with that term, but do we know exactly what it means, or what effects ushers can have? Usher syndrome is the name given when people who are profoundly or partially deaf develop the eye condition RP, retinitis pigmentosa. Statistics show approximately 3 to 6% of the deaf population will develop Usher syndrome. So does it affect everyday life, and how do people cope? We asked Nick Sturley, a member of Deaf Owl who has Usher syndrome, to make a film which would illustrate the condition for us. This is it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you.
That's okay. Hold on, are you deaf?
Yeah, I'm deaf. Are you?
Yeah. Name's Anita.
Oh, mine's Jeremy. Sorry I bumped into you like that. I didn't see you.
That's all right. Why didn't you see me? What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I have Usher syndrome. That's why I couldn't see you properly.
Oh, I've heard of Usher syndrome, but what is it?
It's an eye problem, which means I don't have peripheral sight, tunnel vision.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Would you mind telling me more about it?
With pleasure. Come with me.
Fancy a coffee?
Yeah, fine.
Hey, what's the problem? What's wrong?
Oh, sorry. People with Ushers need to take time to allow their eyes to adjust to any light changes when they go from somewhere dark to somewhere light, or the other way around.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, would you mind swapping places? The light's too bright for me and it's impossible to see you. Is that okay?
Sure. Is that better now?
Yeah, thanks.
So, this tunnel vision, tell me, is everyone different, or is it the same for everyone with Ushers?
Oh, no. Everyone's different. Some people have tunnel vision. Some people have floaters. Some people can see at the very edges and in the centre of the field of vision. And some people can see all around the edges but can't see through the centre. Those examples give you some idea.
Oh, but you must feel awful. Being deaf is fine, but then having sight problems.
Oh no, I don't feel like that, no. I grew up with it, so it's what I know.
Yes, but it must stop you enjoying your life.
No, we all enjoy life to the full, like anyone else, deaf or hearing.
Really? So, like what?
Well, here's an example. I'm chairman of the Young Ushers Group, which is a voluntary group affiliated to Sense. The group encourages other young usher people to build their confidence, socialise, and take part in the fundraising activities, like we did recently, which was a 24-hour games event, and we're planning to do a bungee jump. So there you have it. It goes to show that people with ushers can do anything, like anyone else, deaf or hearing.
Wow.
Yeah. And here's another case in point. A place called Ashley House, at Sense in the Midlands, in Birmingham. It's a specially designed house for people who have Usher syndrome. It's got all the special features that people with ushers would give anything to have in their own homes.
Fantastic. I'd like to see that house.
Well, why don't we go over there? You can see it for yourself.
What? Today?
Why not? We've got loads of time.
All right then. We'll finish our coffee and then we'll go.
Okay.
Oh, what a lovely room. Oh, what are all these different lights for?
Aha, I'll show you. These lights help you, say, if you're looking for something in a drawer. They'll help you see things better.
Uh-huh.
This is like, if you turn out all the lights and you just leave this yellow one on, it's really relaxing. It's easy on your eyes. And if, say, I'm sat here talking to someone who stood in the middle of the room, when they're talking to me, the glare of the main lights can be too much, so I can switch them off and use these. Do you remember I mentioned that this house is specifically designed for people with ushers? Well, take a look at this door. The frame and the handle both stand out. They contrast with the door itself, so that people with visual problems can easily identify where the door is. All the doors in the house are the same.
Oh, that's neat.
Do you want to see the kitchen?
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, it's a visually friendly kitchen, especially for people with ushers. It's got specially contrasting things like plugs, knives, forks, cups and saucers, cupboard edges, work surfaces. It's very safe.
It's great. I could do with one of these in my house.
This is one of the 3 bedrooms here. They're very comfortable.
Nice. Can I ask you something? I know this house is specially designed for people with ushers, but what's it used for?
Good question. 3 things. Firstly, parents who have children with Usher syndrome can come here to get advice about how they can adapt their homes to suit their children. Secondly, people with ushers whose sight's getting worse and people who've recently developed RP can come here to learn about how to adapt their homes and stuff as part of a program.
Uh-huh.
And thirdly, people with ushers come here to socialise sometimes. Okay.
Well, it's a lovely house. It'd be nice if some deaf clubs would do the same for members with ushers, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So, what do you think deaf people should do?
Don't be afraid of anyone with ushers. Anyway, I think we better get back to London before it gets dark.
OK. When we get back, I'm going to the deaf club. Want to come?
I'd love to, but how will I get home? It'll be dark afterwards.
Don't worry. I've got a car. I can give you a lift home.
You sure?
Definitely. You did me a favour by telling me all about Usher syndrome. I'm going to return the favour.
Okay.
Wow, that really showed us what ushers can be like. But people can still go on enjoying their lives. The facilities at Ashley House demonstrated that. We're taking a break now. In part 2, we'll look at a unique project to help the deaf community understand Usher syndrome. Join us for that.
When dirt and grime hit a car travelling at speed, they stick. But if the car's been polished with Ericsson's liquid car polish, its special, easy-to-apply, non-stick formula means that dirt and grease find it hard to get a grip, making washing far easier time after time. Whatever you drive, Ericsson's promise a sparkling finish every time. The new Ericsson's Car Care range, official supplier to Ferrari Formula One.
Ladies, would you like to know more about your man's star sign? Call Cablecom's computerized love match horoscopes on 0898 600 180. We'll give you a detailed analysis of your own star sign in love and then match it with the star sign of the man or men in your life. You may be surprised at what you hear. Call Love Match Horoscopes on 0898 600 180 now.
Dr. Patel to reception, please. Dr. Patel to reception.
Dad,
Oh, to what I owe the pleasure.
I'm here with Maria and the Nipper for holiday jabs.
Blimey, you must have booked into a dodgy old campsite.
No, the Gambia, actually.
The Gambia?
Oh, what was that for?
See if you're made of money.
We saved for it.
Saved you? Money used to run through your hands quicker than lax did through your Aunt Maud. You hated saving.
No, Maria got me into it. It's an Abbey National thing, an instant saver account. It's looked after us for years.
Know how it feels.
We get great rates, and because we save with them, we get the chance to win a car.
Now that I could do with. Hi.
Come along now, young man.
It was hoisting the badger out of your mother's old banger brought my trouble on again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You will be. It's hereditary.
Abbey National, the habit of a lifetime.
Welcome back. Making sure that deaf people with Usher syndrome don't get shut out by the deaf community is the remit of the Usher Syndrome in the Deaf Community project. Co-founded by the British Deaf Association and SENS, the National Deafblind Rubella Association, it's 50% financed by the Department of Health. This 3-year project is halfway through its programme of informing and educating the deaf community. The two project workers both have Usher syndrome, which means that they have first-hand experience and are able to develop research and training. We went to meet them. What you can see here is our project logo. We worked with the designers, and you might be wondering what these hands mean. Why the hands? Well, all will be revealed during the course of the training. Okay? So, what is Usher syndrome? How many people with Ushers are there in the deaf community? This project is called Usher syndrome in the deaf community, and it began in December 1991. The project was made possible when the BDA, SENSE and the Department of Health made the funding available. That funding meant that I could be appointed as training officer, with responsibility for training and development.
I'm the materials officer based at the BDA offices in Carlisle. I'm responsible for the development of materials about Usher syndrome for sign language users in the deaf community, and I also develop videos in BSL aimed at those sign language users.
Usher syndrome comprises two things. Firstly, deafness, just like yours, and secondly, an eye condition. The second of these, the eye condition, is called RP. In terms of training, I'm responsible for many areas of work, but the two main areas for me are deaf advocacy and deaf relay signing, a bit like interpreting. Now, deaf advocacy means deaf people learning all about Ushers so they can go out and inform the deaf community of the problems faced by people with Ushers, or giving people who have Ushers themselves the information they might not have had access to previously. So an advocate stands up for the person's rights. Relay signing means a deaf person passing or relaying messages between a hearing interpreter or signer and someone who has Usher syndrome.
To illustrate Ushers, we can cloud the edges of this wide picture, and I think that gives the idea.
Yeah.
This guiding and leading diagram, it's a nice picture, but I'm not sure about it. It needs to show both aspects, how to guide or lead properly without dragging someone along.
He seems to have a good concept of what Ushers is like.
My remit is to develop leaflets for deaf people, translating very medical information which is not accessible to them into clearer English, so that it's easier for those deaf people who have English as a second language to understand. I'm also going to illustrate the leaflets to make them more accessible. And we'll be producing videos in British Sign Language, putting that information into deaf people's own language. This is really important and really worthwhile. I'm also developing materials for Sarah's training days, like flip charts and other training materials, as well as posters and publicity materials. In terms of evaluation, we do that by actually meeting with people face to face. We couldn't just send out questionnaires because they're written in English. We wouldn't get many back. So meeting people and talking to them in sign language gives us the information we need. It's so valuable. It means we can improve on what we already have.
we've set up a subgroup to look into vocabulary because Usher syndrome has so much difficult terminology associated with it. We want to develop signs that will clearly convey that information to deaf people. This training is unique because up till now all the training courses have been aimed at hearing people. Deaf people could only get access through an interpreter. This training is aimed directly at deaf people and given by deaf people. Yes?
Could you explain the differences between ushers and deafblindness, please?
Right. The difference between ushers and deafblindness. Most people seem to believe that ushers is deafblindness, but people with ushers, like me, think of ourselves as deaf people who've lost some sight. Because I was born deaf, and I've grown up with a deaf identity, deaf culture, sign language. I'm a member of the deaf world, the deaf community. Just because I develop an eye condition doesn't make me deaf-blind. I don't think I'm deaf-blind, but it's a contentious issue. Are you a pair? There you go. Can you two work in a pair? And you and you? The point of the glasses is to give people a taste of what ushers might be like and to teach them different ways of coping with communication and mobility. Of course, it's communication that's vital. We try to show them that communication isn't limited. You can develop different ways to communicate, like hands-on signing if the person's vision is very bad. We have a variety of glasses to make people more aware. Those who have quite good vision might use one way of communicating. Those who have more restricted vision might use, say, hands-on or manual. I think the glasses are really effective in getting the group to think about how to adapt.
What have you learned? I was all right with you guiding, but I wanted bigger doors so we could walk through together. You couldn't do that with small doors. My name is David.
For a long time, there's been a lot of ignorance in the deaf community about Usher syndrome. But I think those two films have given us a clearer picture. Now we know, we can be more supportive. Access to information is something the deaf community and Sign On want more of. Maybe our demands are being met with the recent release of these videos. Good morning. All right, take a seat. That video was made by Deaf Owl. It's about the opportunities offered by the Employment Service and its placement, assessment and counselling teams. It's packed with information and it's available through deaf organisations or your local employment service.
Okay, so you're in the meeting and it's going really quickly, too quick to follow. What can we do? You'll have to raise your hand and say, could you slow down a little, please? If there's a point that you're not sure about that needs clarification, ask the speaker directly. Don't ask the interpreter.
Some people cannot manage on their own without help. Community care means helping them to live in the community in their own homes.
Both of these videos are good and are full of information illustrating the daily problems of access that deaf people face. They're both available from the British Deaf Association at this address: 38 Victoria Place, Carlisle, Cumbria, CA1 1HU. Next week, Sign On at Leisure will be visiting a massive sporting event for young deaf people and showing something unusual that signs. Tune in to find out more. Bye!